Welcome back to another episode of the Balancing Healthy podcast, guys. It has officially been 1 year since I launched the very first episode of this podcast, 10th of October 2024. I am so excited. I can't believe it's been a year. I think, we say this with everything. We say this all the time. How has it already been a year? And it's just it's crazy to me. I'm still in disbelief. And truthfully, in true Sezzy style, I've decided I'm doing a little bit of a giveaway to celebrate, and I decided this a week ago. I was like, you know what? My podcast birthday's in a year. I'm just going to do something fun. Why not? So I'm doing a little bit of a giveaway. Like I said, it was kind of like a last minute thing, but it ties in really well actually with what I'm going to talk about today. So today I'm going to do a little bit of a reflection, just a little mini one on the past year in itself and just, life in general, me as a human, but also I'm going to take it a little bit deeper and talk into starting before you're ready. Now, that will make more sense when I come back to it. The giveaway, let's talk to that first. So full details are on my Instagram. They'll be on there until the 19th of October. They'll be pinned on there until the 19th of October, just because that's when the giveaway is going to end. So you've got 10 days. Basically, I'm giving away 4 weeks of free coaching inside my group program, Balancing Her, and I've lined it up so it's going to run with the last 4 weeks of my current 12-week challenge inside Balancing Her. So what that means, pretty much, you get access to the monthly call we're going to do, the monthly challenge, the monthly quote-unquote meetup. I'm doing something that's a very special invite-only event. I'm kind of still in the the planning stages, so can't give you any details yet, but I say think celebrations, think awards, think drinks, think Christmas vibes, Christmas party vibes. So I'm very excited for that. But that is an invitation only for my clients. But anyway, you get access to all that, access to everything else that's already happened in the challenge, previous calls, just all the things. Anyway, all the details are on my Instagram. Head over there and you can see exactly how to win. It's so freaking easy. It's literally tagging and sharing. It takes 2 seconds to do. So yeah, if you wanna be in it, if you want to be in it, you gotta win it. If you wanna win it, you gotta be in it. So head over to my Instagram. But today, a little bit of a kind of reflection on the potty, and like I said, starting before you're ready. And this podcast came about, I believe I've shared it in one of my previous episodes, but I have kind of always wanted to record a podcast. I've always been a girl that's give me a microphone, put me on a stage, I'm that kind of vibe. And I just think this is something that I naturally was always going to do. I do not know how to shut the fuck up, and I will yap all day long. So the fact that I get to do this every week is so cool. And I could be sit here and be oh, I'm so lucky, but I literally made this choice and I did it before I was fully ready to. So like I said, it was always in my head. I actually was scrolling through my story archives on my Strong Sezzy account the other day, which if you've been here since the Shy Sezzy days, you're a real one. But I was scrolling through those stories my archives, and I had a post that I'd reshared to my story. It's literally 5 years ago now. And I captioned it and I was wrote so much. It was something I wrote so much in this caption, I really should start my own podcast. And when I saw that, I was oh my God, I don't even remember having a thought about having a podcast. I don't even remember, just even the idea of having one. It was never I'd said that, but it was never really a thought in my head. And I was wow, that is very cool that it was clearly a subconscious thought, but I hadn't fully put too much into it. And then I found a vision board from, I want to say 2023. I can't remember what year, but I found a vision board and it was start a podcast. And in my head, when I was I remember putting it together and I was oh yeah, this would just be cool if I did it. And I remember I kept saying to myself, I was no, you don't need to do it. Why would you do it? Just wait. And it wasn't until I went on a retreat September last year. And I was sitting there with my friend and we were talking about business stuff. It was a business retreat. And then I heard the facilitator say to someone else, about them having they were asking about a podcast. And she was oh, why can't you? You can just you just film it or record it. You just do this. She kind of said the process. And I was that sounds so easy. And I thought, why can't I do that? So anyway, I had a photo shoot booked already for 2 weeks after that retreat. And it was just a quick 30-minute photo shoot. And I was like, I don't really know what I want these photos to be. I just know that I want some new ones. So I grabbed my other microphone and some fun stuff, lollies, colors, like confetti, all the things. And I just went to the photo shoot and I was like, you know what? In case I start a podcast, I'm just going to bring the microphone and we'll just take some photos and then I can use it if I want, or I don't have to use it. And then if you guys have seen my logo, if you've been listening to all the episodes, we're up to episode 29, you would have seen the logo a million times. Though that photo shoot, I used that photo in, well, there's many photos, but I've used one of those photos as my podcast logo and I'm still obsessed with it over a year later. So what a good time. Anyway, I started well before I was ready. And again, this facilitator of the retreat, she was my mentor at the time and she was like, yeah, it makes total sense. Just start one. And she guided me through the process. Very easy stuff. And I still don't even do things the way that most people do. I literally record it on my phone. I've just got my Rode mic literally inside this. It's that easy. I literally just connect it up to my laptop, export it onto Spotify for podcasts, and then schedule it, and then it's ready to go. I don't edit it. I don't do any intros, outros. I would love to at one point, but I'm one girl and I'd rather just be yapping and then rather than dealing with editing stuff because it actually takes such a long time. Me recording this, let's say it's a half an hour episode, and then by the time it actually gets onto my laptop, I don't even know how long that takes. My plan today is I'm going away this weekend, so I'm going to let that sit and do what it needs to do, and I'm going to go and pack for going away. And then I've got to export it from there again, and then that's a bit of a process. And so if I've not finished packing, then I'll finish packing. Otherwise, I'll do something else in that time. And then it's good to go. I'll trim it down, and then I can easily do all the things, upload it onto Spotify, YouTube, do my caption, my my headings and everything like that. There's a whole process to it. So it is a big job. And then of course I do my my Instagram reels from the episodes as well. So then I upload it into edits, and then I have to chop it down and make it, add captions to that and headings, and there's so much to it that I think not a lot of people see. And I didn't intend to share that today, but here we are 1 year on, and I just think, you know what? The podcast has grown a little bit as well. It's something that has really allowed me to share my voice more, and I think be more convicted in who I am, how people perceive me, what I want to say to the world, how I coach people, who I am as a person, who I want to be as a friend, as a girlfriend, as a sister, as a daughter. I feel like having this podcast has allowed me to expand my capacity in a way, and not just the way of it takes a lot from me every week or fortnight or however long I do it, but also the way that it allows me to show up for those around me and really be who I truly am inside. So just want to thank you guys that are always here every week, waiting, listening, watching. I really, really appreciate you all so, so much. And you guys are the reason that I'm still here. So a big thank you to you. One more thing I want to say on my reflections is I'm just reading my notes. Guys, I write my notes on Notion, and for the first time, I've color-coded it all. And I was like, you know what? It's easier to read, so I love that. But yeah, no, a few things, other things that have happened this year. I do like to do an end-of-year reflection, so I'll probably do an episode on that at the end of the year. But I mean, in this past year since I started the podcast, one thing in particular, which is so random, but my old car died twice within it died in October last year. And then, actually, I think it was literally, oh my God, it was the day or a few days before I launched the podcast, because the day I launched the podcast, I had a hire car and I was driving out to see one of my clients. Oh my God, that just hit me. So literally pretty much a year ago as well, my car died once, and then it died again in Feb, right the week before I was moving, classic. And we got rid of her. She literally died. She was like, I've had enough, and she was done and we couldn't fix it. And then I got my new car this year, which was another thing on my vision board, which I'd said this year, I'm going to get my new car. So let me just go into a bit of a story. I was moving into Dad's for a couple of months, or the foreseeable future, back in Feb. And pretty much I'd said, okay, when I move in with Dad, I'm going to go car shopping with him. Because like we were living about 45 minutes apart at that point. And I was like, I'm going to go car shopping with him. And like he can just, because I just like, I like having Dad around to help me. So I was like, I'm going to go car shopping. He can help me. And then, we can do the trade-in of my car and get my new car, and like it was a whole thing. And then my car died a week before I moved into his house. So I was kind of forced into it a couple of weeks earlier than I had actually intended. But again, it was that thing of like starting before you're ready in a way. Because whilst I was so ready to say goodbye to that car, like if you know me personally, I had that old car for 10 years nearly 10 years. And I'd originally got it thinking it would be a temp car. The amount of issues I had, the amount of money I spent on that car was so incredibly ridiculous. And I felt unsafe. I hated driving. I didn't want to go anywhere like in my car. I didn't want to drive anyone. I was just always terrified that it was going to break down. I was always terrified that it just wasn't going to run properly because it just wasn't a good car. And something I realized, it was either late last year or early this year, is that car was the last thing I had from 18-year-old me. And again, I think I've said this somewhere before, but I felt like I have grown and grown and grown. So much has happened in the past 10 years for me. I can't even get into it. And I feel like that car was the last thing that needed to go. I kind of grieved it a little bit. Like, oh my God, my eyes are tearing up. I remember when I went, because like the car was at the mechanic, and I literally just called one of those, I can't remember what they're called, like they like pay you cash and then they tow the car and like take the parts, whatever they're called. And I remember he came to take it, and I was watching him drive off, and this mechanic was in the corner of like a main road, like a highway and a main road. And it was so hot, and I was sitting there waiting for my partner to come pick me up. And I remember just watching the mechanic drive away, and I was, not the mechanic, sorry, the tow truck driver. And I just like started crying. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it's gone. Like it was something that like I had like been wanting to do for so long. And I was like, I can't believe it's gone. I cannot believe it's gone. And I think this ties into this year of like me getting my new car and like how I want to be perceived and how I want to look and how I want to show up. And it's one of those things of like, I've really noticed that in this past year since having the podcast, and again, it's probably because I'm on camera most weeks, well, with this and with content and, even my job being in front of PT clients and group classes, like it's like I have to be so on that I'm like, I actually want to be showing up as a better human. I want to be doing more for those clients, for whoever. I want to be dressing better. Like, again, you can see I'm very comfy today because I just want to be. I don't know what's happened. I went for a walk earlier and there's so much wind in Melbourne. My eyes and my throat, it's been nearly 4 hours since I got back from my walk, and I'm like, I still feel like there's dirt all in my face. So I'm not feeling amazing, but I've digressed so much. But I don't even know what I was up to with that. I have no idea what story I was telling, and that's ADHD for you, and I'm not editing it. Oh no, I remember. I was going to say how I'm perceived and stuff, and it's like, I've got this nice car. I don't want to be, someone who just, can't even like brush their hair or put on her eyebrows or put on her moisturizer or, like when I go out to catch up with people, I used to always just constantly wear my activewear. And I'm like, you know what? I actually want to put on normal clothes. I wear activewear for work. I wear activewear all day when I'm home working. When I go out, I don't want to just be in my normal activewear. I really committed to buying some casual clothes this year. And I'm very happy with some of the stuff that's in my wardrobe. Still can be a bit better, but very happy with some stuff I've got. And that's kind of like one of my main goals for this year was to like elevate my wardrobe a little bit. And it's just so random. But again, it's a thing of like, how do I want to show up? And this is how I want to show up. So that's on that. Okay. I'm going to move on to the actual like, I don't know the word of it. The not bulk part of this episode, but the substance part, like the part that you guys are going to get something from. So the overall theme of this is starting before you're ready, because it doesn't matter what you want to do in your life. If you keep saying, I'm going to start when I'm ready, you will never start. You will be waiting forever and ever and ever. And I have quite a few examples of this. I've got them all written down. And the first one, like I literally just spoke to, was starting this podcast. Like I was not quote unquote ready. And yeah, I've done a podcast event like 2 months ago. What's the date? Yeah, 2 months ago. That was actually terrifying. You should have seen me on the day before, like, obviously the recording is up as an episode, but I had to chop out a whole bit of me just, like, shitting my pants. I was like, I'm so sorry. And the girls are just sitting there staring at me, and I was like, fuck, I'm so sorry, but I'm having a moment, and I'm not ready for this. And I just had to start because I'm like, well, I'm here. Like, I can't just not do it. So, yeah, starting before you're ready, so important because you will literally be waiting forever if you don't. So my first one, I already said it, is imagine if I had never started the podcast. I would never have grown in my sense of articulating. I'm still not the best. Articulation is still one of my you can hear it now. It's still one of my what's the word when you're self-conscious? Still one of my, I'm just going to say weakness. It's still a weakness of mine. I still really struggle with it. But I think it's because I have so much to say that I really struggle to articulate and get it all out. But I've definitely gotten a lot better. So I'm very happy with that. I've got better, like I said, at recording. I used to record it just on my laptop straight away, but then I learned some new methods and the quality is much better, as in what you guys see, but also what you hear is much better as well. I've had to edit some episodes, so I've gotten a bit better at that and like understanding new apps and stuff because like technology is just technology and there's sometimes tech things happen and we have to edit. So I've had to do that. I've obviously learned how to use the platforms and like different things and this and that. And like I've done guest episodes. And you know what? I was just thinking I need to do some more guest episodes. So if you have any guests you want me to get on here, drop a comment below and then I'll absolutely reach out to that person. Or if you want to come on the podcast, let me know. The next thing is imagine if I'd never started my business. And here I am 2 and a bit years later, just under 2.5 years later with like, I'm just like, I literally just get to sit at home on a Thursday afternoon. It's just before 4 o'clock and I'm just recording a podcast all because I started my business. I would not have had this podcast if I had not had started my business. Like I'm coaching clients from all over Australia. I've had some people in New Zealand before. I've had one person in the UK, but she was actually my PT client from Melbourne. And then she's been off on an absolute adventure on the other side of the world, traveling, living, working. So like I was training her online as well, but she's my only one. But I'm like, I fucking love her. She'll be listening to this. Bless you, Laura. But yeah, I'm like, this business is so cool that it's allowed me to do that. Like it's allowed me to be able to train her on the other side of the world. Like that is so freaking cool. And I remember when I went to start my business, I remember I had just gone full-time into the fitness industry. It was the start of 2023. And because, oh my God, I just realized I've just missed it. A few weeks ago was my 3-year anniversary of starting in the fitness industry. I remember it was the grand final public holiday of 2022 and it was the public holiday, the Friday. So it would have been the 20-something. I don't know what day it was. I didn't even check. Like I said, I just missed it. But I remember that was my first day of coaching on my own and I was so fucking nervous. Like I was shitting my absolute pants. I actually nearly quit before I even started because I was so stressed about it. But I'm like, here I am 3 years later and I just did it even though I didn't feel ready. Anyway, back to the business. So it was the start of 2023 and I had just left my office job and gone full-time into the fitness industry. But if you're someone who's gone full-time into fitness, you know what it's like. Like you can't just go full-time. It's not like when you just go to an office and you just have your 9 to 5 Monday to Friday and you've got all the work for you. You have to build up your clientele. You have to actually like work hard to get to a point. And so I had some extra time on my hands and I was like, I want to start my business. I'd already had my business name, like I'd done a business plan, like, but I just like, it was still a pipe dream in my head. And I remember I just started like doing things here and there. Like I think I'd already saved, like I'd secured the name on Instagram. Like I was doing bits and pieces like that. And then I got a business mentor for an 8-week block. And I was like, I just don't know the things that I need to know to start a business. Like I don't know like what kind of app I should use. I don't know what kind of systems. Like I was just like, I just literally have no idea. Like I want to start one, but I'm also just such a rookie. And she was helping me with that. And I remember she said to me, she goes, Sarah, you're going to launch your business before we've even finished our 8 weeks. And I was like, no, what do you mean? And she's like, yeah, like you're ready, just launch it. And I was like, huh, what? And I didn't feel ready at all. Oh, sorry, my laptop nearly died. And I didn't feel ready at all. And I remember she was just like, you're launching it. And I'm like, imagine if she has just never pushed me to do that. Would I have even launched it? Would I even be sitting in the position I'm at today? Had I launched it sooner, would I be further along? Probably. So it's one of those things that, like, do you ever look back at something you've done and gone, I wish I started sooner? And then think back to when you started. Did you feel ready? Did you feel ready? Probably not. Very much, most likely not. And that leads me into my next point is imagine if I had never started losing weight, which sounds rogue, but in my head, I'd always wanted to lose weight, but it was never really a deeper thought than that. And it was the start of 2017, my ex and I had broken up, and just from like not eating out so much and like not eating so much junk and like going out and stuff, I lost a couple of kilos, but it wasn't until my friend was literally like, Sarah, I want you to come with me and we're going to go to this like group fitness place. And I was like, I'm terrified. I don't really want to do that. But she was like, no, like it'll be fun. Like, let's do it together. And so she literally made me do it. She made me go. And she was the reason I kept going. And I was terrified and I wasn't ready. And I'm like, should I share this? You know what? Yeah, because it gives some vulnerability. The first session that I went to, we got there. No, we must have got there 5 minutes early, but like it was a 9:30 class or something. So like generally a 9:30 class, people get there pretty early. So half the class is already there. And I think it was like a bring a friend type class that we went to. And one of the girls, you would not believe this, one of the girls that was there, like this is just the most rogue, like it's not like a BFT or F45. Like this was like the most random family gym, like way out where I used to live. Like it wasn't like a big advertised thing. It was just like this little gym. And one of the girls there was with her mum. And I instantly felt sick because that girl was an old friend of mine that my ex had cheated on me with. And so if I wasn't already stressing enough that I was going to this new gym, I'd never been to a gym before, I had to try something new, I had all this expectation of myself to be amazing and, you know, not get exhausted and like all of that. And I'm like, just want to look back, like why did I have that expectation of myself? But also now I'm more stressed because I'm like, I know I'm overweight. I know I'm unhealthy. I know I feel like shit. And now I'm here in a room having to do this exercise, be really pushed and, you know, pushed to my limits and sweating and feeling gross in the same room as a girl who she was skinny as, who I was so self-conscious in front of already. And then I found out that my ex had cheated on me with her and like now I have to train. And you know what, guys? I kept going back. I kept going back. Lucky for me, it was actually her mum that was the regular at this gym and she was the guest. So I still went back. And imagine if I had not done that. Imagine if I had just never committed to getting healthier, losing the weight. I certainly would not be anywhere where I am now. I certainly would not be a coach. I would not be a PT. I would not be a nutrition coach. I would not be anything. I wouldn't have this podcast if I had never started that. You never know where one decision can take you. And then I always look back to imagine if I'd never got my health and fitness coach. So from 2017 to 2022, I spent 5 years dabbling in so much shit, having no idea, just feeling like I literally was just trying everything that I saw on the internet. I was, you know, I tried 1,200 calories. I tried keto. I lost 30 kilos. I gained some back. I had issues with digestion and my period, and I had no idea about any of it. Like I just had no information. I was like, should I drop the calories more? Should I train harder? Should I, you know, I was doing 60-minute Stairmaster sessions every single day, and I was like trying to beat myself from the day before, just thinking this is just what I have to do. And I was really struggling with severe anxiety around food and going out and like having other people cook for me and just having a nice meal at a cafe or a restaurant or having a drink. And like I was really just fucking it up, and I was binge eating, and then I would restrict, and then I was just not having a good time for 5 years. I had no fucking idea. And then the last 3 years with my coach, I'm like, the amount of growth I've had, the amount of success I've had, the way that I've been able to lose weight and still eat out. I'm in my deficit. I'm about to go away on my fucking like third weekend away in 5 or 6 weeks, which is so not normal for me. It's just the way that life happened this year. But being able to do that in a deficit without literal any care in the world, like imagine, and I always think like if I had just got a coach sooner, if I had dedicated to that sooner, because I kept thinking about it, but then I was like, oh no, it's okay, I could do it on my own. I was like, that's a lot of money, I can do it on my own. But the reality is, if I had done it sooner, I probably would have healed my relationship with my food and my body and everything sooner. I probably, again, would be quote unquote further along. I don't really have any huge like body goals at the moment. Obviously, I'm losing some of the fluff. That's it. I don't really have anything major. But I'm like, in future, if I want to, I don't know, do a fucking high rocks. I don't know, like, or if I want to look a certain way, it's like I could already be there if I had just made the decision sooner. Yeah. Oh my God, I lost my train of thought just then. Because as soon as I said high rocks, I was like, low key, kind of want to do one, but low key need to start running again. So there's that and there's that. But yeah, I'm like, if I'd never got my coach, I wouldn't be where I am now. And then, if I'd got her sooner, I would have done all this stuff sooner. I probably would have started my business sooner. I probably would have been a PT sooner. I probably could be so much further along than I am right now. But I don't sit and dwell in that. I'm really, really happy with where things are. But it is that thing of like, I started to learn to just say yes when I wasn't ready. And that's why I've done these things. I've always been able to, I'm not a quitter, right? I am not a quitter, which is why I give some things a bit too long before I quit them. And then there's other things that like, it's been so important for me to not be a quitter. Otherwise I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. Like I said, if I, had quit my job before I like got stuck into it, I wouldn't be here 3 years later, still there, still loving it. I wouldn't be loving being a PT. If I, oh my God, I lost my thought again. Wow, you guys are getting the real ADHD side of me today. There was another point to that, but I'm going to go to the next part. I think I've been yapping for ages. But what I was going to say, I think I'm wrapping it up now. Let me have a look at my notes. Yeah, that's right. So as humans, we really love to analyze things and make them harder, even if we do it subconsciously. So making excuses, and again, some of these can be valid, like take this all in your stride. But obviously an excuse like, I don't have the money. Well, sometimes, yes, that is an excuse, but sometimes it's actually looking at the priorities and what do you actually spend your money on as opposed to what you could. And like, this is something that I've got to, like this money one, let's say like, for example, like $50 a week for a coach, right? Which I'm going to say most of them are more than that. That's not one of my figures, but that's a rough number. But $50 a week for a coach, right? I'm not someone that used to eat out a lot. It's just the way I grew up, never bought takeaway, like always really good at saving money, like never just like randomly bought, like people buy coffee every day. And I just go like, how the hell do you do? Like I still do that because I'm like, to me, it's just not my priority. Like I don't just buy coffee every day, but I guess to some people it is. But it's like, if you bought a coffee every day in this day and age, say it's like $7 for your coffee. 7 times 7 is $49. That's your coaching right there. Or, you go out to eat and you, like most meals these days are like $30, $35. And then you might have a drink with it. And you might do that a few times a week. You're spending like upwards of $200 on like 3 or 4 meals out. You could literally, that could be your groceries and your coaching money. Like, yes, like I said, sometimes it is it's genuinely a money thing, but sometimes it's just a priority thing. And I actually read this once and I love this. If you changed the quote, like if you're not watching, I'm going to use some quotation marks. If you change the phrase, I don't have the money or I don't have the time to, it's not a priority for me, then you'll start to look at things differently. And ever since I heard that phrase, I was like, damn, you've hit me. You've hit me in the feels, because there's a lot of things that I still say I don't have time for. And some of it is true. I'm still one human. Some of it is true. And then some of it I'm like, pull your head out of your ass, Sarah. You do have time for that. You need to make it a little bit more of a priority. Like sometimes I stress myself out and that's okay. It's not in the moment and it's definitely not good for my central nervous system, but sometimes it happens. And that's what I'm saying. I'm not perfect either. I still do things like this. I still get shit scared of things. Like I said, that podcast event I did, I was literally shitting myself, but it gets easier each time you do it. So now that I've done it once, I still look back on that event and I go, I didn't really do that well. I could have done this better. I literally went to my mentor the next day and I was like, I could have done this, and this. And then in the same breath I said, but I also ran the event. And she goes, yep. And you ran the event and that's incredible. And I'm proud of you. But also we can look at these things that you said you could have done. Let's look at that for next time. Let's look at it as a learning curve. And I'm like, yep, that's exactly it. And there's been this trending sound on TikTok as well. Oh my God, I'm literally just having a yap today. There's been this trending sound on TikTok and it's like there's two voices and one of them, his voice is like saying like, you know, it's okay if something doesn't go right the first time, it's a learning curve and you can try again. And then it's her being like, she's like repeating after him and she's like, yep, it's okay if things don't go well the first time. And then it's her being like, well, screw this, I'm not doing it, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, that is so like my brain. But I'm like, no, like it's a learning curve. And I feel like a lot of people can relate to that because a lot of us go like, it wasn't perfect the first time. It sucks. But nothing's going to be perfect the first time you do it. Nothing. So try again. You always have the ability to try again. Every day is a new day to try and try and try again. Again, where I'm at now, I was not born training hard, drinking my water, going for my walks, eating well. I can literally put together a day of eats from my fridge in my cupboard without even looking deeply into it, and I can pretty much hit my macros and calories. Like without even really having to think. Because it's something that I tried again. And over time, it's got easier and easier and easier. So if you're someone that you're like, I need to start tracking my food or I want to lose weight or whatever the XYZ thing is, you just got to start. You might not feel ready, especially with the fact that we currently have, I think it's 11 weeks now. Might be 11 and a half weeks until literally the end of the year. Literally the end of 2026. And if you're someone sitting there going, oh, I just don't have time right now, or I'm just not ready yet, like I'll be ready in 2026. You won't be ready in 2026. As a veteran of, I will start in the new year. I've done it so many times. I can guarantee you if you start now, before starting in the new year, that sounded so weird. If you start now and start to get little steps ahead, by the time you hit 2026, you've already started implementing things. So then when you get into 2026, you're not going balls to the wall and doing 10,000 things at once, trying to work out 5 times a week, trying to drink 4 liters of water a day, trying to walk 15,000 steps, whatever it is. Because if you do that at the start of 2026, I can guarantee you, and if you do this every year, I can guarantee you, you fall off the bandwagon within a couple of weeks. I guarantee you don't make to the end of Feb. But if you can start now and you can start to build up these habits, especially my Australian girls and guys, whoever's listening, the weather is turning it up. The weather is turning it up. It is getting easier to hit our steps. It's getting easier to go to the gym. It is getting easier to drink our water because it's going to be hot. If you can start to do it now, then you will just, by the time 2026 comes, you're going to be already solidified in some of those habits, and then you can expand on them in the new year. And then you can be so solid in your groundwork that when we start to get to winter and daylight savings goes, which sucks to say, but it's going to go. Winter's going to be dark. It's going to be cold. That's going to happen. It happens every year. By the time you get there, you will literally be so instilled in your habits that yes, there'll be days where it's hard. There might be days where you might not go to the gym or you might not do one thing, but you will be so consistent overall that it literally won't even matter. So if you're waiting until 2026 to start again or start your new diet or start your training or whatever the thing is, I highly recommend starting now. Even if you're not ready. I actually literally had a new client sign up this week for Balancing Her. She literally paid, did her onboarding form, all that at 11 a.m. on Sunday morning. I saw it and I messaged her on Instagram and I said, like, hey, so excited, blah, blah, blah. I said, do you want to start tomorrow? Or, like, you can start next week. Before she had even responded, I'd set her up and I said, you know what, I'm too excited. I was like, I've already set you up, so if you're keen to start tomorrow, everything's in there. You just need to activate your account and you're good to go. And we had a call this morning because we always do an onboarding call with Balancing Her. And she goes, you know what, I am so glad that I started this week. It was her birthday yesterday. She's going away today for a couple of days. So half the week is a quote unquote write-off. But she was like, I am so glad I started this week. I'm so glad I started when I had all these events on so I can start to learn how to balance it all in between. I gave her 3 workouts a week. She's done them all. Now she's going away for the weekend. And that's because, like, that's 3 workouts she wouldn't have done had she not started on Monday, literally 4 days ago. And that is the beauty of starting before you're quote unquote ready. Okay. I think I tangented off from my main point before, so I'm going to quickly say it. As humans, we love to analyze and make things harder or make them seem harder because it means we don't have to do it. Saying, I don't have time means we don't have to do it. Saying, I don't have the money means we don't have to do it. And like I said, don't get me wrong, I still do this. I still do. I do it for some things and then I catch myself, and like that quote I said before, I catch myself and I go, hang on. What's the priority here? What is this going to do for me? How is it going to make me feel? And that is what I want you to think of. My homework for you today. Think about one thing that you keep saying, I'll do when I'm ready. It can be whatever it is. I don't care. You pick your thing that you keep saying, I'll do when I'm ready. Maybe it's starting a new course. Maybe it's, going to the gym. Maybe it's learning how to track your calories and macros. Whatever it is, I want you to take the first step. If it's starting a new course, have you looked at your options? Where can you do this course? Can you do it online? Is it face-to-face? Can you balance it with your current job and life and everything? If it's going to the gym, okay, have you looked into getting a plan? Have you got a plan? Are you just going to go in and wing it? Have you looked into getting a PT? If it's learning calories and macros, okay, where are you getting your calories from? How do you know how much you need to eat? Have you done a little bit of a research? Have you downloaded MyFitnessPal? Have you started having a play with it? Do you see what I mean? Like, if you can just start taking really, really small steps, eventually they're all going to add up. And I also said this as well when I was studying my Cert 3 and 4 in fitness. The way that mine was structured was online, and it was in like little like blocks and stuff. And I fully made myself this like chart, and it was like every single block, and then I had like a little checklist on the side, and it was like completed, assessed, passed, fail, right? And I just like would get up before my office job and I would look at it, and I would literally do like a couple of questions each day. Just a couple, not a lot at one time. And I made a big dent into that. I remember when I got to the end and I was like, I don't even really remember doing it, but I did it because I gradually ticked it off. Little things at a time, little steps. Okay. I'm going to wrap it up here. I'm like, it's 4:20 p.m. How long have I been talking for? I'm going to wrap it up here. And the last thing I want to leave you with was don't forget I have, oh my God, I cannot talk today. I've got my giveaway on my Instagram. So by the time you guys are hearing this, you've got, I think, 9 days left to enter if you're listening to it on the day that it's come out. Giveaway closes at 6 p.m. on Sunday, the 19th of October. You get to win 4 weeks free coaching with me. We'll do, just like I mentioned before, we'll do an onboarding call to get you into Balancing Her. You'll get to smash these last 4 weeks, have a training plan, have your nutrition plan. Like, I give you everything for this 4 weeks, and then you can take that beyond into Christmas, the New Year, all the things. So you'll get a lot from this 4 weeks. It's very, very, very high value. Plus, you get to meet all my other clients and just have the best time. So if that is something, if your thing that you're putting off is your health, try and get it for free. If it's a money thing, try and come get it for free. Go over to my Instagram. It'll be pinned there. But Other than that, if you loved anything in today's episode, let me know, send me a DM, leave a comment, all the things. I appreciate you guys so much for listening, watching, however you're consuming the podcast, because like I said, I literally wouldn't be here doing this if it wasn't for you. So I really appreciate you. I love you so much, and I hope you have the best day, night, morning, whenever you're listening or watching this. And I'll speak to you next week. Bye.